Have you ever looked at your life and wondered if the small things you are doing right now actually matter? I want you to imagine holding $5,000 in your hands. For some, that is a few months of rent. For others, it is the price of a reliable used car, or maybe just enough to start a tiny, quiet business. Now, I want you to imagine that exact same amount turning into $2.6 billion. It sounds impossible. It sounds like a lottery ticket, a miracle, or a fairy tale, but it happened. And the secret behind it was not a lucky gamble, and it was not magic. It was a single, profound lesson from a father to his child, a lesson about how to look at the world, how to value what you hold, and how to understand the invisible power of time. Many people spend their entire lives rushing. We chase the next dollar, the next relationship, the next quick fix, hoping that somehow speed will bring us success. But what if I told you that the greatest wealth in life, whether it is financial wealth, a beautiful marriage, or deep inner peace, is built on a principle so simple that most people completely ignore it? Today, we are going to talk about that lesson. We are going to unpack exactly how small seeds turn into massive empires, and how you can apply this to your own money, your relationships, and your personal growth. You are going to learn why rushing is destroying your potential and how to completely change your approach to life, starting today. Before we go deeper into the story, I want to ask you to gently tap the like button and subscribe to the channel. We make these videos to help you navigate life's hardest decisions with wisdom, clarity, and peace. By subscribing, you are joining a community of people who are committed to growing beautifully and building lives of real substance. Let us walk this journey together. Now, listen to me closely. The story of turning $5,000 into billions is not just a financial masterclass. It is a mirror reflecting how you make decisions every single day. If you can understand the heartbeat of this lesson, you will stop panicking about where you are in life. You will stop feeling like you are running out of time. You will finally understand that the soil you are planted in right now has everything you need, if only you knew how to water it properly. Let us uncover what this father knew and how it can change your tomorrow. To understand how $5,000 becomes billions, we have to talk about the true meaning of compound interest. But I do not just mean compound interest in a bank account. I mean the compounding of your life. The father's lesson was simply this: never trade what multiplies for what merely shines. When we look at money, relationships, or skills, we often look for the immediate glow. We want the shiny new car, the instant validation from a new partner, the immediate promotion at work. We want things to look good right now, but things that shine usually fade. A new car loses its value the moment you drive it away. A relationship built only on excitement burns out when the hard times come. But things that multiply behave differently. They are quiet. They are boring at first. And when you invest $5,000 into a solid long-term asset, it does not do anything exciting in the first year. It sits there. You might even feel foolish for not spending it on a vacation or a new wardrobe, but underneath the surface, invisible roots are growing. The interest earns interest. The knowledge builds upon knowledge. Trust in a relationship deepens quietly over thousands of small, boring Tuesday nights. The real meaning of this lesson is emotional endurance. It is the ability to look at something small and see the massive oak tree sleeping inside the acorn. This is why this topic matters so deeply in your real life. Think about the skills you are trying to learn. Think about the business you are trying to build. You put in a week of work and see no results. You put in a month and you still see nothing. The father who taught this lesson understood that the universe tests our patience before it hands us the reward. He taught that growth is exponential, not linear. In the beginning, the progress is so small it feels like failure. But here is the secret that changes everything. The longer you leave the seed in the ground, the faster it eventually grows. If you can grasp this, you will completely change how you argue with your partner. You will see that forgiveness compounds into unbreakable trust. You will change how you spend your weekends. You will realize that reading one book a month compounds into undeniable wisdom over a decade. The $5,000 is just a metaphor for your energy, your time, and your love. The lesson is about choosing the quiet power of multiplication over the loud, empty noise of instant gratification. But here is where so many of us make the biggest mistake. We live in a world that sells us speed. We are surrounded by images of people who seem to have made it overnight. We open our phones and see someone driving a luxury car 22 or celebrating their perfect wedding after knowing each other for 3 months. And what happens? We panic. We start feeling a deep, suffocating anxiety that we are falling behind. This emotional reaction is the exact reason why most people will never turn their metaphorical $5,000 into anything substantial. Our first wrong assumption is thinking that a slow start means a dead end. When people do not see immediate results, they pull their investment out, they quit the job, they leave the good relationship because it got a little difficult, or they sell the stock just before it rises. They dig up the seed every 3 days to see if it is growing, and in doing so, they kill the root. This is driven by fear and pride. We are terrified of looking foolish to our friends. We want to show people that we are succeeding right now. We let the pressure of society dictate our timeline, sacrificing our future wealth for present-day applause. Consider how this shows up in love. How many people rush into marriage because they are afraid of being the last single person in their friend group? They trade the necessary, slow work of truly getting to know someone for the shiny event of a wedding day. They take their emotional $5,000 and blow it on a flashy party, leaving nothing in the bank to sustain the actual marriage. They got the immediate validation, but they forfeited the compounding joy of a deeply rooted partnership. We also get it wrong out of confusion. We confuse activity with progress. We think that if we are constantly moving and changing our minds, starting new projects and ending old ones, we are moving forward. But jumping from one thing to another destroys the compounding effect. You are constantly resetting the clock to zero. You have to understand that true growth requires the discipline to stay still when every emotion in your body is screaming at you to run. If you find yourself constantly starting over, you need to ask yourself if you are truly failing or if you are just abandoning the process right before the miracle happens. Before you make any more decisions, you need to understand the signs that you are off track. Life will always give you warning signals when you are choosing things that shine over things that multiply. You must learn how to read them. The first major red flag is a feeling of chronic restlessness. If you cannot sit quietly in an empty room without feeling a deep sense of anxiety, you are likely addicted to immediate stimulation. You are constantly looking for the next hit of dopamine, the next distraction. This restlessness means you are incapable of enduring the quiet, boring phases of growth that are necessary for building lasting value. The next sign is that your decisions are heavily influenced by who is watching. Pay very close attention to this. When you are about to buy something, post something, or make a life change, ask yourself, would I still do this if I could never tell anyone about it? If the answer is no, you are operating out of pride, not purpose. You are spending your foundational resources on managing an image rather than building an empire. This is a dangerous place to be because public opinion is fickle. If you build your life on the applause of others, you will collapse the moment they stop clapping. Another profound warning sign is the quality of the people around you. Look at your closest circle. Are they sprinters or marathoners? Do they constantly talk about getting rich quick, finding shortcuts, and complaining about how unfair the system is? Or do they talk about ideas, long-term goals, and personal responsibility? If your circle is full of impatient people who only celebrate immediate, flashy victories, they will pull you into their rhythm. They will make you feel stupid for holding onto your $5,000 and letting it grow quietly. Finally, pay attention to how you handle boredom in your relationships and your career. If you create drama just to feel something, or if you sabotage good opportunities because they feel too calm, that is a massive red flag. Peace often feels like boredom to a person who is used to chaos. So if you run away from stability because it lacks the sharp thrill of a roller coaster, you will never experience the deep, compounding rewards of loyalty and sustained effort. These signs are not here to condemn you. They are here to wake you up before you lose your most valuable assets. Now that you know the signs, we must discuss the absolute mistakes you have to avoid at all costs. The first rule is this: never, under any circumstances, let the success of someone else make you abandon your own timeline. When you see someone else winning early, the temptation is to abandon your quiet strategy and take massive, foolish risks to catch up. Do not do it. You do not know their background. You do not know the sacrifices they made. And frankly, you do not know if their success is even real. Comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20 is the fastest way to destroy your own story. You must also never sacrifice your foundational piece for a short-term thrill. In finance, this looks like gambling your life savings on a hot tip. In life, this looks like betraying a loyal, loving partner for a momentary temptation. The devastation that follows these shortcuts is rarely worth the few seconds of excitement when you compromise your integrity or your long-term vision for a quick hit of pleasure. You are essentially setting fire to the very fields you were supposed to harvest later. You cannot cheat the law of compounding. If you interrupt it with foolishness, you go back to zero. The next thing is very important because it can change how you see the whole situation. Never ignore the power of small leaks. You might think you are holding on to your $5,000 safely, but if you are constantly making small, poor choices, a little bit of unnecessary spending here, a tiny lie there, a few hours of wasted time every day, those small leaks will sink the whole ship. Small habits compound just as powerfully as large investments, but they can compound negatively. I want you to pause for a moment. Have you ever rushed a major decision, whether it was money, a relationship, or a job, just because you were impatient and later deeply regretted it? Or perhaps you waited, endured the difficult quiet phase, and saw a beautiful reward. Please go to the comments down below and share your experience. Tell us your story. Someone reading the comments right now is on the verge of making a terrible mistake, and your specific story might be exactly what they need to read to calm down and choose patience. Let us build a community of wisdom down there. If you recognize that you have been living a life of impatience, do not despair. You can change the trajectory starting right now. The very first thing you must do is stop the bleeding. You need to take a calm, honest audit of your life and sit down with a piece of paper and write down where your resources are going. Where is your money going? Where is your emotional energy going? Who is getting the best hours of your day? You cannot multiply what you do not manage. Take back control of your $5,000, whatever that represents in your current season of life. Next, you must actively silence the noise. Unfollow accounts on social media that make you feel like you are failing. Distance yourself from people who pressure you to move faster than your wisdom allows. You need to create a quiet mental environment where you can think clearly when your mind is cluttered with the opinions and highlight reels of thousands of strangers. You cannot hear your own intuition. Give yourself the gift of isolation for a little while. Learn to be comfortable with not knowing what everyone else is doing. Once the noise is quieted, you need to define what your $2.6 billion actually looks like. What is the ultimate goal? Is it absolute financial freedom so your family never has to worry? Is it a peaceful home filled with laughter and trust? Is it mastering a craft to the highest level? You must have a clear vision of the end goal, because that vision is what will keep you grounded when the waiting gets hard. If you do not know what you are building, you will sell your materials to the first person who offers you a shiny penny. Finally, commit to the boring work. Choose one small habit that aligns with your ultimate goal and do it every single day, no matter what. Read 10 pages, save $5. Have one meaningful conversation with your spouse without distractions. It will not feel like magic on day one. It will not go viral, but you are laying the bricks. You are setting up the system of quiet growth. You are learning to fall in love with the process rather than obsessing over and the prize. As you begin to walk this path of patience, you are going to encounter resistance. Handling the situation wisely requires a level of maturity that most people simply do not possess. The hardest part of the journey is not the physical work. It is managing your own mind during the messy middle. The messy middle is the long stretch of time between when you plant the seed and when the tree finally bears fruit. During this time, you will feel invisible. You will feel like nothing is happening. You must remind yourself daily that roots grow in the dark. You have to establish fierce boundaries. As you become more disciplined, people will try to pull you back to your old ways. They will invite you to waste money, waste time, and engage in petty drama. You must learn to say the word no with a smile, but with absolute iron in your voice. You do not owe anyone an explanation for why you are protecting your peace and your future. If someone is deeply offended by your new boundaries, they were benefiting from your lack of them. Let them be offended. Your future self is depending on your courage today. Observation becomes your best tool here. Watch how situations unfold when you refuse to react emotionally when a crisis hits, whether financial or personal. The impatient person screams, panics, and makes hasty decisions that usually make things worse. The wise person pauses. They observe. They ask, what is the real problem here? They understand that time is often the best filter for a crisis. By simply waiting 24 hours before making a major choice or sending an angry message, you save yourself years of cleanup. Communication also shifts when you embrace this lifestyle. You stop over-explaining yourself. You stop making grand announcements about what you are going to do. You stop talking about the $5,000 and the plans for the billions. You just put your head down and do the work. You let your results speak for you. There's a profound dignity in quiet competence. Move silently, build faithfully, and let the compounding evidence of your life be the only argument you ever need to make. We have reached the point where we need to face a very serious truth, and I want you to listen to me with an open heart. The hard truth that so many people actively avoid is this: time is going to pass anyway. Whether you invest your $5,000 wisely or whether you blow it on things that do not matter, 5 years from now will arrive. 10 years from now will arrive. And when it does, you will either be living in the reality of your compounded wisdom or the nightmare of your compounded foolishness. Many people refuse to start because they think the journey is too long. They think it will take me 10 years to build that kind of wealth or that kind of career or a marriage that's strong. I'll be 40, 50, or 60 by the time I get there. But my dear, you are going to turn 40, 50, or 60 anyway. The only question is whether you will arrive at that age with a harvest or with a handful of dead seeds and a mouthful of excuses. You cannot cheat time, and you cannot negotiate with the laws of life. The hardest part to accept is that if you are currently unhappy with where you are, it is very likely the result of the small, compounding choices you made over the last few years. It is easy to blame the economy, or our parents, or bad luck. And yes, life can be incredibly unfair. But your recovery, your wealth, and your peace are entirely your responsibility. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to walk up to you and hand you the billions. So if you want a life of substance, you have to build it, brick by boring brick. This truth is painful, but it is also deeply liberating. Because if your past choices built your current reality, it means your present choices can build an entirely new future. You hold the pen. You have the power to stop the negative compounding today. You can draw a line in the sand right now and say, the foolishness ends here. The impatience stops today. It will require breaking comfortable habits. It will require looking at yourself in the mirror and admitting where you went wrong. But on the other side of that painful honesty is the beautiful, quiet power of a life truly well lived. If you are sitting there realizing that you have already made the mistakes, if you feel like you took your $5,000 and completely wasted it, I want to speak directly to your heart. Please breathe. You can heal from this. You can rebuild. The first step to moving forward is radical self-forgiveness. Beating yourself up over money lost, time wasted, or hearts broken does not bring any of it back. It only drains the energy you desperately need to rebuild today. Forgive yourself for not knowing better. Forgive yourself for wanting to be loved so badly that you rushed. Forgive yourself for wanting success so badly that you took the wrong shortcut. Once you let go of the shame, you must locate your new starting point. You may not have $5,000 anymore. You might only have $5. You might only have an hour of free time a day. You might only have a tiny shred of hope left in your heart. That is enough. A seed does not need to be massive to grow into a giant tree. It just needs to be planted in good soil and left alone. Take whatever you have left, your hard-learned lessons, your humility, your remaining time, and treat it as your new seed. Shift your entire mindset from "I need to get it back quickly" to "I am going to build something unbreakable." So when you try to rush the rebuilding process, you usually end up making the exact same mistakes that broke you in the first place. Accept that the journey back will be slow. Embrace the slow walk. Find joy in the small victories. Celebrate the fact that today you did not react out of anger. Celebrate the fact that this week you saved $20. These are not insignificant details. These are the heartbeats of your new, compounded life. Protect your future by guarding your environment. As you rebuild, you will be fragile. Do not expose your new, delicate roots to harsh winds. Keep your plans private. Nurture your mind with good books, uplifting content, and quiet reflection. You are essentially remodeling the house of your life, and you get to decide who is allowed to step inside. Fill your life with grace, patience, and realistic expectations. The wealth you are building this time will be real because it is built on the rock of experience, not the sand of illusion. We have journeyed through the deep wisdom of a father who understood that true wealth is simply patience applied to value. To turn $5,000 into billions, whether in your bank account, your character, or your relationships, you must absolutely refuse to be rushed. You must recognize the incredible power of the unseen roots growing beneath the surface. You must stop comparing your steady, quiet marathon to the noisy, flashy sprints of the people around you. Remember that whatever you give your time and energy to will multiply. If you invest in drama, you will reap a chaotic life. If you invest in discipline, truth, and slow growth, you will inherit an empire of peace. The biggest lesson I want you to take away today is that you are richer than you think. You possess time, choices, and the ability to learn. Do not trade these precious assets for temporary comfort. Stand firm in your decisions. When the world tries to panic you into moving before you are ready, remember the oak tree. It does not apologize for taking its time to grow tall, and neither should you. Protect your seeds, water them with consistency, and trust that the harvest will come exactly when it is meant to. If this video brought you clarity today, or if it spoke to a situation you are going through right now, please tap the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we are going to continue bringing you the truth, the guidance, and the wisdom you need to make the best decisions for your future. When you subscribe, you make a commitment to your own personal growth. And do not forget to leave a comment below. Your story matters, and it might be the exact light someone else needs to see today. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Protect your peace, trust the quiet process, and remember that your greatest harvest is still ahead of you. I will see you in the next video. Take beautiful care of yourself until then.